And my recommendation, as you would recall, I don't recall asking for a vote, that they just get it out of our hair and quit claiming it off to Dover and let them sit around all day and argue till their fur hats fall off. Okay? I just don't care about that little piece of ground. Why should that tie us up here?
Should.
Over which, I might add, why should we spend thousands of dollars to dump dirt around it and put up rails? All right, John?
I make a motion to accept the minutes as approved and move
I
on.
second it.
Thank you.
I second it.
All right, minutes are accepted as presented. John?
As corrected.
Sorry, as corrected.
Very good.
Thank you, Fausto. John?
No sarcasm, please.
We're on camera, I understand. All right, they can throw me out in March. Okay? Where are we? I think we're up to statement of operations. Ms. Monica?
Okay, thank you, David. Good afternoon, everybody. This morning, you're looking at your statement of operations for the 6 months ended April 30th, 2022. For the month of April, we had total revenue of $413,000. For the 6-month period, we had revenue of $2,442,000, which represents a $10,000 variance from the budget. We unfortunately had a shortfall in our social activities income of $58,000, but that was substantially made up by a surplus in your miscellaneous income of $7,200 and your ID income of $41,000. For the expenses, for the month of April, $442,000 in expenses, which left us with a $29,000 loss for the month of April. Your expenses for the 6th month are $2,727,000, which left us with a loss of $285,000. We had actually budgeted for that period a loss of $394,000, so it's a positive surplus of $109,000. If you look down the right-hand side of the page, all the variances to your actual results of operations in your budget, you'll see all the line items with brackets around them, meaning we're coming in year to date under budget. Any questions? Okay. At the very bottom is your social activity summary. Our theater revenue for the month of April was $8,400. The theater expenses and the movies were $6,000, so we had a profit for the month of $2,400. For the 6-month period, our theater revenue was $183,000. Our actual expenses for theater, dances, and movies totaled $272,000, so there's a loss of $89,000. We had budgeted a loss of $60,000, so it is a negative swing of $29,000 here today. The next report are your cash balances. As of April 30th, our total operating funds were $1,006,000. Your windstorm deductible reserves totaled $827,000. Your contingency and infrastructure improvement reserves totaled $2,637,000. So your total reserve funds, $3,464,000, and your total available cash, $4,471,000. Any questions? Okay. Next report, and this is through the end of May, is your social activity summaries. For the month of May, there were 639 tickets sold for the box office performances. That included 46 comps, which is part of your buy three, get one free program that we have over the summer. We collected $3,177 in theater revenue. When you deduct the audience view cost and your sales tax, we have net sales of $2,581. We pay the performers $3,650, so we have a loss for the month of $1,068. Your movies, 747 people attended your movies. We had 5 movies during the month of May. The total cost was $1,600. You may recall this is the reduced cost we were paying before when we were showing each movie 5 times. So that is an improvement over the cost for the movies. So for the month of May, our loss was $2,674. The next report is the revenue collected from guests. This is also through the end of May. May, there was a significant drop-off in your total revenue collected from guests. You'll see of 3,166 theater tickets sold in May, only 656 were guest tickets, which generated, $656 generated from the sales of 82 tickets. Your guest fees that were sold and included in box office sales was only $246. Remember, that went down from the $5 to the $3 in May, so you see the drop there. Guest passes sold in the ID office were $2,288. Guest passes sold in the staff office $342. So your total guest passes for the month of May, $2,876, and year-to-date total guest revenue $55,033. Questions there? Okay. Final report here is your Estoppel report, and I had a very good suggestion from Richard at last month's meeting, suggesting that I add for each month the number of estoppels during the particular month that we're comparing it to this year. So you'll see this is also through the end of May. In the prior year, November through May, there were 542 units sold in this community. And for the same comparable period this year, 488 units sold, which is a decrease of 54 units or 10%. This year, we've collected $105,000 in estoppel fees. In the same period in the prior year, we collected $112,000. So you can see there, although May was down to 69 units from a high of 127 units the prior month, and the prior year, both months were near 90 units. So there's big fluctuations there.
That's including the raise in profit.
This is just strictly the number of units sold, yes, but the year-to-date number with 105,000 increase includes the increase in the estoppel fee, yes. Any questions about that? Okay, that concludes what we had on the agenda for me. However, I hate to bring this back up since we appear to have gotten past it, but I do want to address the motion that was made by Olga at last month's meeting regarding the Dover awning. And the only reason I'm bringing it up is following the meeting, I went to legal and told them the decision that was made at the committee meeting. Legal reviewed the rec leases and have determined that because that Dover awning is part of the original demise premises under the long-term lease, that for Benenson Capital, should they even desire to want to deed that property to Dover, that would put us in violation of all 7,784 long-term leases in this community. So we cannot move forward on that basis because of that. I don't think it's worth us trying to entertain somehow amending all of the long-term leases for that piece of property. So as far as WPRF is
For your next joke.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen. It's not gonna move forward in that
Good.
manner.
All right, then we need to revisit some of the issues you brought forth on rendering that structure safe for actual usage. And there
Yes.
were some projects brought forth, as I recall.
It was just,
That's an electrical device, you have
Yeah.
to turn it on.
Monica,
O and
Yes,
OFF.
Richard.
there it is.
So, what you're saying is that each of the 7854 condominiums has a partial ownership or lease of that Dover
Yes.
property?
Yes, sir, you are correct. That is the legal interpretation. Absolutely.
And there was just a cost of $1,500 to sod it and make it safe so there's no trip hazard.
And you brought that munificent sum to us, why?
Did you just ask?
Huh?
Did you just ask?
That's, no,
I
no,
wasn't gonna bring it up.
you actually brought it to us
Oh, maybe, okay.
last month, and it was kind of derailed by this suggestion that we quit claim it off, which we can't really do.
Right.
So now we have to go back to it.
Okay. Yeah, and there was a.
Why isn't this pocket change and a management decision?
It is, and that's where we're moving forward with
It
it.
is, but originally we were looking at putting up railings to keep everybody from falling off, and that was over $5,000. That would have come to you.
I gotcha.
And then we decided to build up the soil with the sod, which was,
Is that still on the table?
We'd
yes.
rather just do the
Before we
sod.
open it, we can't do anything.
Once that area is made safe for users, will it be available to all unit owners in Century Village?
It has always been available to all
Yeah.
unit owners.
Keeping in mind that there's some issue with crossing Dover property to.
Correct,
Okay.
correct, the wear and tear on their parking lot, because there's no parking, WPRF parking over there.
Understood.
Let's just make sure that Dover's aware of that,
They're aware.
that it's open to everyone.
They know. They've been living with it all these years. They know.
Yeah. But I don't think there's a tremendous amount of extra Dover usage. There's some, but parking is a problem over there. Unless you want to invade Dover parking spaces, which wouldn't go over too well.
There's actually 2 spaces that are ours from
Understood.
but they're using it as dumpster area. Okay, but there is 2 parking spaces over there.
All right, so is there something to be brought forward again?
No.
No. Thank God.
Let's move
All right.
on.
Anything else, Monica?
Not for me, that's it. Thank
I
you.
was remiss at the start of the meeting to welcome Bobby Levin as the newest and latest addition to this committee. Welcome,
Welcome,
Bobby.
Bobby.
All right. So shall we move along
Yes.
to HVAC?
There has been no change. We're still to the middle of next month opening, but talking with Abby, it looks like the shows and stuff won't be transferred over there until August, to the party room. So, but we should be 100% done by the middle of next month for that section.
You actually getting ticket sales for shows in the party room?
They haven't gone on sale yet.
Yeah,
Huh?
it's not on sale yet.
Tomorrow,
I'm just
today,
saying-
tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Okay, we'll find out. Thank you. All right.
I have a question.
Gwen, where? Oh, John.
So we're saying party room will be open for business? We're saying the party room will be open for business in the middle of July?
Not till the 1st of August because of the shows.
Okay. 1st of August
For the shows.
for the shows.
What about the dance?
And what about the dances?
Dances are going to wait till the 1st of August as well, so they can be advertised in the happenings that way.
Okay.
Instead of starting mid-July, so we get to advertise them, and they will start at the same time as the shows. And so,
Okay.
Okay. Did you have something, Maureen?
Yes. What about this room? Will this room stay open for now, or?
for now it will, because we're going into the theater next. But when the theater's done and we go to the south side, we lose the use of this room.
Thank you.
Mindful, you reminded me of something. I almost hate to bring it up. I understand that you're introducing a new amenity the falling tile amenity in the lobby?
I thought there was gonna be a class on the hanging.
Was that a structural issue, or did somebody drop a hammer?
Somebody slipped up there and basically, luckily grabbed onto the rafters and was safe. He was off the walking path where he should have not been, looking at some ductwork that they were gonna be removing.
I got you.
So he's learned his lesson to stay on the walk path
We don't
that they provided.
expect, we don't expect any additional falling tile.
We hope.
Yeah, I
And
saw-
every area now is basically rubbed off.
Yeah.
We didn't expect
All
that.
right. I'm just kind of joking with you.
David.
Abby, is anybody going to speak?
David, I got another question. David,
Got a question?
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
I
John,
have another question about the HVAC.
please.
When you do this side of the building, are we just going to shut down for a year? Are we going to make allowances for a portable air conditioner in here so people can still use it? Or, I mean, let's face it, we've been 3 years without a party room almost. And don't get me wrong when I say this, I'm all behind WPRF, but I think things, we could have moved in portable air conditioners and kept that room open for a while, but what are we going to do with this end of the building?
We're going to follow the schedule that was presented, and all I could say is because of the times, okay, and the materials, that's what's causing a lot of delays, okay, and that's just a proven factor. We have all the documentation, okay, from all the vendors on their materials. We'll try to do the same over here. Hopefully, we're a little bit better prepared. All the air conditioning units that we're going to be working on this side are in already, so that should flow a little bit quicker than what it has happened over on this side. Also, the air conditioning units are in for the theater, so it isn't that we're waiting for something now. So things should move a lot more rapidly than they've been in the past. But no guarantees with the type of things that are going on. And the building department is a big factor also here. Very they're just overbooked out there to try to get these guys in even for inspections.
Yeah, permits have been a problem of late. Very slow. All right. Blah, 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 blah. You're going to speak for Abby?
Well, yes, Dan already basically just, because it's hard to lock into a specific date in July. It's easier to just say everything will start on August 1st in the party room, regarding the shows, regarding the dances and the movies. So, and that's it. Steve and Laurent are working on the technical logistics, and we will be ready to go as soon as we are given the green
Technical
light
issues?
for preparing the stage. Yes, there
Oh,
is.
of course. All right. So it's very complicated. You have to turn the lights on.
Well, right now, I think the
Put
lights are,
CDs.
the lights
player.
are motion lights, so we need to switch that over.
Oh, okay.
And then we do need an additional outlet on the stage
Do you
for the
have a smoke
equipment.
machine?
No, we're gonna stay away from things like that. I had an incident with one of those that melted and caused problems in Deerfield, so no smoke machines.
All right.
Over here.
We got a question. Whoa.
Will you be able to make like a backstage, like a changing kind of room or something with
That will be
curtains maybe?
that'll be in a separate room. We're already working on that.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Well, we'll have a star on the door with your name.
It's okay.
Thank you, Mark.
We're gonna put your name on it.
New business. Oh, Dan, you have a lot of entries here. Oh, yes. Bob.
Okay, I want to kind of discuss, and I know we discussed this last month, but the assessments that go into the reserves for WPRF. I would like to propose, I'd like to make a motion that
Budget meeting, Bob.
that the reserves, I understand, but I want to say here first,
Okay.
all right? I'd like to see those reserves not go over $5 a month for the next 5 years. At which time, hold on a second, at which time they'll be reviewed by the operations committee. And I'd like to see an oversight committee formed for how that money is spent.
And we could get David Stockman in here today.
Maybe we could.
You expect WPRF to project today 5 years into the future?
No, I just want to know where that reserve money goes.
Okay, goes into the reserves for major
I wanna
projects.
know
but
where it's
This
spent.
is a problem for the budget meeting. When is our next budget meeting for WPRF budget?
We won't be meeting till August, late August.
No, that's what,
Late August?
it's not far down the road.
2 months.
I just want it on record that I would like this to happen.
Okay, so you make that clear at the budget meeting. And they'll present a budget, not for 5 years. I mean, you get 1 year projection, and that's where you bring these sorts of things. Why would you bring it here?
Point of order.
Yeah.
The agenda says Dan is next on the emergency repair. Any discussion about future budgets should come after him.
I agree with you 100%, and probably at the budget committee meeting. All right? All right? Moving right along.
Not yet.
Not yet. Now what?
Are we on new business?
We're on Dan business.
Well,
Dan is first.
we're on Dan and the catwalk repair.
Okay, I'll wait until after Dan.
Okay, just,
Until after Dan.
on the emergency catwalk repair, I had brought Dom and Donald also to take a look at an area that we had started as a basic repair that we were going to do underneath the catwalk area. That catwalk is where the card room upstairs is, to exit out. We had some deterioration of the concrete that was falling off. That's about a 15-foot ceiling there. So they ended up doing a repair that started up because it was an emergency of $5,000. When they got into it, okay, they started using the hammer to get to the rebar, the close rebar. It was falling apart. And inside there, we have the light fixtures, which is EMT, okay? It was rusted out, and that's how the water carried through there. And those particular areas is where they were hammering, and it was just falling apart, okay? As they continued to keep doing this, it kept on going to the strongest part. And we made a hole about 4 feet wide by about 10 or 12 feet long. But when we opened it up, we saw that the conduit was completely rusted out, and the rebar also was rusted out. This is where some of the water was entering downstairs into the party room area, and also sometimes into the card room. By sealing it, we try to prevent it, but we now know exactly where this water was coming from. So we ended up calling them to let them know that I'm bringing in an engineer due to the fact that it's going all the way down the catwalk. If it's in that condition in that area, it's going to be, I would seriously think that it's in the same condition that the EMT and the wires were exposed. Okay, so I'm bringing in, I did send the proposal for $4,000, okay, for them to evaluate it and give us a working method of the repair, okay? It came out right now, we're at a $20-some thousand range, okay, for what we've done so far. But it seems that the catwalk all the way down, it looks like it's going to have to be taken care of. It's just not, it's just deterioration, it's an item that has to be taken care of.
And should this be us paying for it, or should be?
Would you like us to make a motion, a $4,000 evaluation?
No.
No.
What do you want us to do?
Hold on. Okay, I think he's just giving us information, Doc. It would be kind of foolhardy, given what they've discovered so far, to do anything extensive without an engineering study.
That's the point.
And that's the $3,000.
How extensive is the damage? Think about it, that's the northeast, it gets all the weather. You know, God knows what they're gonna find.
You said he needs 4,000 for the evaluation.
That's just the engineering study.
Yes,
Where's that 4,000 coming from? Doesn't matter.
that's something that we could discuss with
Emergency reserve.
in the area.
I don't quite understand. I mean, there's $2-point-something million in reserves.
That's right.
Well,
If you feel the necessity to make a motion
No,
for
that's
this,
what I wanted to know. Do we need to? If we don't,
No.
Okay.
All right, hold on. Hold up.
I just have a question. Has the county ever come in and assessed that situation?
It will when we do the repair for the inspections.
After? Okay, thank you.
Oh, I see where you're going.
Excuse me?
If the county were to come in first, it would be a government mandated repair.
Yes.
Thank you, David.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Thank you, David, yes.
I see. And who would call the county in?
Someone who wants to save us money.
Oh, yeah.
Because the fire department should be called also if it's a matter of fire escape kind of thing. And I think it's wise to have the county assess it.
All right. I would think without an engineering study, I don't think you're going to get much of an assessment. I don't think you can even begin to imagine how extensive the damage is and where it reaches. It's just a point. Barbara.
Dan, you had mentioned something about we had maintained it previously. We did some work.
We're always maintaining the outside of the building,
All right,
and there
so-
was some pieces that had been falling off where we scraped before and put back on. But unfortunately, this is getting bigger than what it was years ago. you know.
So what you're saying is, I just want to clear my head to make sure I hear right. We've maintained it, but now it's gone to the point where it can't be maintained anymore. You have to fix it once you get an engineer study, and you're going to have to fix it to code. Is that correct?
It's a repair. And when the repair happens, depending on what the engineer specifies, okay? It could be just going back to removing the concrete and repouring the concrete. The rebar could be still saved, okay? So it's a maintenance repair. At this point, I know what you're trying to go through. At this point, that's what we're getting to, okay? The other thing is your choice of getting whatever, but the way it works first is getting the engineer to do that study. The county is not going to put their legs on anything on this, okay, and tell me that it's something wrong. They don't have the engineering background to do something like that. So I will have to call, for our purposes, okay, that I'm going to move forward in that direction to get the engineer study and get to see what we have to do for the repair.
Fausto.
We shouldn't even be discussing this right now. You should have called the engineer the first day that this came to light, so that when you come to the committee, we have an idea of the extent of the damage and how we need to proceed to go forward. So you guys should have done this the first day, not wait 3 weeks to come back here to tell us how much it's going to cost.
It's always good to say what you're saying. Unfortunately, it was only supposed to be a very light repair. I didn't think that it was that extensive. When it got extensive is when we called the engineer. We don't want to spend money that we don't have to, okay? In this case here, knowing when you bring in the engineers, they're going to do it by the book, okay? So bottom line is, I understand what you're trying to say, but it wasn't any fault on anybody's part, okay, on that portion of what you're trying to say. I'm not going to call an engineer every time I see something wrong, you know?
Dan, the point I'm trying to make is, once you take out a foot and you see that it's 2 foot and it becomes 4 foot and it becomes 40 foot, you realize that the problem is a lot bigger than what you thought, and an engineer, only to protect you and to protect us, we should have had an engineer come in and let him evaluate the situation. That's all I'm saying.
And we did exactly what you're saying here. Just because we went 4 feet out and down, if I left it where it was very dangerous to leave what it was. I had to get and remove the cement that was already loose on side there. As soon as I saw how bad the EMT was and the rebar, okay, we're looking at the rest of the project going all the way down, okay? I could have just said inside there, came back to you, I have to go back further than what it was, okay? Because they might have to go further than what they did so far. I understand what you're saying. I'm just trying to...
You didn't understand what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, you realized that the project was bigger than what you thought. Should have called an engineer, so when you came here, you came prepared with an engineer's report saying, this project is this much, we need to pour 40 feet, 50 feet, whatever it is.
Okay.
You're still bringing us to light to a project that we now have to, just lost 2-3 weeks of time, where you could have probably had an engineer's report come in with an engineering report saying, this is the project, we need to go out to bid. That's the way I see it. I'm sorry.
And the other thing is that they would have to make us go down to the park to see the rebar anyhow, to see how bad it was. So I wasn't trying to neglect on what you're saying, but there's a way of doing this because they have to see what's in there, okay? They can't tell what it is, okay, until you open it up.
All right, but there is a proposal in hand of about $4,000 to do the engineering study now. I don't think there's much escape from that. Bob?
I'm hearing a bit of a contradiction, right? You have the county, they come in, they inspect after it's repaired. Now, if they can inspect after the repair, wouldn't that tell you that they have some kind of engineering background to be able to tell you that it's safe? So if you get the county to come in and look at it first, that determines whether it's mandated by the county or we're just gonna pay for it. Well, if it's mandated by the county, they pay for it. It's not, this is not our building, it's their building. So they need to pay for this, as far as I see.
All right,
Not Benison funds, not you.
I'm not gonna sit here and educate on the construction or how the formalities happen here, okay, Bob, I'm sorry.
No, I'm not.
I'm just gonna let you know what my job is, okay, at this point, to see where it's at. I understand what Pascal's saying, I understand what you're saying. The county, okay, if they come here to inspect, they follow what they call code. They're not engineers out there, okay? The engineering, when you build something, has to be engineered. They come back and they follow code.
Now,
But I don't want to, they're not gonna come out here and see something that they can't see through the concrete to tell you what the problem is.
If county comes in and looks at that, are you guys afraid that they're gonna say, well, you gotta condemn it?
They're not gonna say that because they're gonna say they're gonna wanna get an engineer out there to see what's going on.
Right, but then it's their mandate telling you that it needs to be done, and we don't pay for it. You do. Not you personally, I'm talking about Benison.
I guess what I'm gonna keep on, that's something that you could discuss afterwards.
Look,
I want
Bob,
the repair.
why don't you call the county and ask them to come out here and look at that and see what happens? If that makes you feel better, feel free. Anybody can call the county and ask them to come look at this situation and tell us what they think. I mean, we're not afraid of anything. I mean, call the county in.
Folks, I think what Dan is doing is spot on. Can you imagine if someone went out there and 100 pounds of concrete fell on their head? He's got no choice. He's got to move ahead with the repairs.
I understand
You don't
that.
have time to call governmental authorities to come in here, right? What's the point?
The point
The
is
point
simple.
is saving us money.
Don't bet on it.
No.
Don't bet that if a unit owner calls up and complains that the government will do a damn thing. First thing they'll do is call WPRF management. It's the very first thing they'll do and ask what's going on. Maybe they'll come and inspect it, maybe they won't. And maybe if they looked at it first, they pull a certificate of occupancy for this whole building. And then you'd have some very unhappy unit owners to shut the whole facility down
Until
for what
repairs are done.
comparatively is a minor repair, if you call $100,000 minor, because that's where I think it's going. All right?
Easily.
We got anything else on this one? Dan, you got anything else for us?
I do, David.
Where are we? Yes, Ed.
I think what we're talking about is a matter of conjecture, would the county come? But they do come because we called the county when the lifts at the pool were not working and they sent out someone to assess it. So they do come. I do feel when Monica says someone should call, the person or organization should call is WPRF. We know the building fell in Florida because there were cracks and they didn't attend to it. And in addition to which, when you say we should go ahead or not go ahead, I brought this book, which we paid a couple of $100,000 to revise, and it's very clear that any repair a big committee has to look at, we're supposed to see it 4 days in advance. not after $100,000 or $200,000 is expended. I'm not in construction, I've owned real estate, I've had builders as clients. The county, if the county doesn't come in, I bet you the fire department would come in if that's an escape route. And I think what you say, Monica, is right, you're not afraid. It's WPRF's building. They should call it. We all know the building fell in Florida because you saw cracks and they did nothing. And I think we're being remiss here. Just saying 4,000 is nothing. 4,000 is someone who doesn't have a penny. Every dollar counts, and we should watch those dollars.
Got anything else on this matter? Okay. I'm moving forward with this engineering.
Yes, please do.
All right,
I would like to make a point
yes, please.
that, all of our vendors that we've been working with for years, pre-COVID, post-COVID, you don't get to just pick up a phone and say, hey, you're an engineer, we need you, we discovered something, and they're gonna come out the next day. All right? We have a project with our pickleball courts. We contacted the company back in November. We're still waiting to be scheduled. They say that they're 8 months behind, and this is what we're finding with everything. It's very difficult to get things rolling because it's difficult to get people on property. So I understand it, and I appreciate Fausto's point, but you don't just call and they show up the next day. Doesn't happen. Doesn't happen that quickly at all.
All right, I think we can drop into discussion and Q&A.
Can I make a motion?
Well, yes, if it's, yeah, please.
I'd like to make a motion that WPRF call in the county to review the damage as it now stands.
All right,
I'll second it.
do we have a second on this motion?
I'll second it.
Where was the second?
Me.
Oh, Bob. All right, any discussion on this motion? Donald?
Dan, will permit be pulled on this repair work?
Yes.
So the county will, as a matter of course, be called. It's part of the system, it's in the machine. So there's your county involved, okay? Dan, will we see an engineering report next, and maybe proposal next month?
Yes, as soon as I get off it, I'll be giving them a call that we can start on this right away. As soon as I get the report, I'll be bringing it and sending it out.
Then we'll know what we're talking about. Thank you.
Any further discussion on this motion? We have a second? Bob, you want to call it?
No?
Sorry, Joanne.
The motion is for WPRF to call in the county to assess damage to the catwalk area in the main clubhouse. Motion was made by Ed Grossman and seconded by Bob Rivera. John Gregg.
Yes.
Ruth Dries.
No.
Richard Handelsman.
No.
Maureen DeViguer.
No,
Barbara Cornish.
abstain.
John Hess.
No.
Jackie Carmen isn't here. Bobby Levin.
No.
David Bowen?
David Boaz.
No.
Olga Wolkenstein.
Yes.
Got me, Joanne.
Joyce Reed.
You got kicked off the... No,
No, you didn't.
I'm usually right by group.
And you're voting?
No.
No.
Oh,
There's,
Wait, you didn't get everybody.
yeah, okay. Sorry, David Israel,
No.
Ed Grossman,
Yes.
Don Bernaggia,
No.
Stuart Richland, Fausto Fabro,
No.
No.
Tricia Caputo,
No.
Bob,
Sorry.
I'm voting no. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 yes, and the remainder no. and 1 abstain. And the motion does not carry.
All right. Now may we drop into discussion and Q&A. Barbara?
I have a question. You send us the closed and open repair work, you know? Yes. Every month, and I guess I'm one of the few that look at all that stuff. But I noticed that, and it's not the amount of the key. I see where a resident lost the key for the woodworking shop. Am I correct? Yes. But shouldn't the keys have to be gotten from the office like the rest of us have to get keys for all the rooms? Why would a resident have a key for that room?
If they are, well, there are keys for certain pieces of
Can't hear you.
I'm sorry, yeah. There are keys for certain pieces of equipment that require more skill. And so when they are tested, if they are not, or if they are skilled enough, they will get a key because we keep locks on the equipment that only those qualified then will open the box so they can turn it on and use the equipment. Some of the woodworkers are not qualified.
So you're talking about a key for qualified machinery?
Correct.
That's
There's a
better.
key to the room that they get
that's-
from security when they sign in. Right, but this is keys
Okay.
to certain pieces of equipment.
That makes sense. This said the room, and that's why I wanted to ask. Thank you.
John?
Eva, there's different groups that use this room, class room C. In fact, we had someone come and talk to you about it. Why can't we have a portable dance floor and curtains? There's 3 acting groups that use this room every month. And all 3 groups gather quite a few people for their shows. And you know, you don't want anybody dancing on the carpet. You know, but why can't we have a portable dance floor, you know, and curtains like Deerfield in their party room? I mean, not Boca in their, you know. I'm just saying, you know, I think you ought to budget for this. You know, everybody wants it, you know, but the feedback we got, the groups got, was that you didn't want to deal with it.
Well, I never said that was not my phraseology, number one. Deerfield has curtains as decorative up against the walls. I don't think they have a curtain that they draw across the stage, okay? Initially, it was brought to me that plywood was going to be put down, which I said absolutely not, because that is a trip hazard. It has edges to it.
I said that would.
Then it was floated that a portable dance floor. Portable dance floor.
It's what they use for weddings.
You know, so this room right now is our main room, and it's used for a lot of different things. And I don't think that having a dance floor in the room, if we need to break it down and set it up multiple different ways, to me is a good thing. I think that when the time comes, you're going to lose this room very short. Well, not very shortly. We're going to do the theater next, but there's also the stage in the party room. So maybe we can work something there. I don't know, but
So it's,
and when you say everybody wants it,
no, I'm saying the group.
well, a lot of people want it. Yes, the acting groups, the 2 acting groups.
3 acting groups.
Okay, but that's not everybody. We have a lot of building meetings in here. We have a lot of things going on here. So I certainly, if you want to come and talk to me about it one by one, a one-on-one, that's fine. Okay.
We have Barbara.
If I recall, the last acting group was done in the theater.
Yeah.
And now that, when we don't have a theater, they can use we don't have the theater, they can use the party room, am I correct?
The only reason I put it in the theater is because they get more people attending than this room can hold. We don't want to turn people away.
I don't think this room should be changed into anything but a meeting room.
Exactly.
And the
That's
only
way I-
time you use it is karaoke, which they have no problem with the way it's set up. This is a very big meeting room that all the residents can use for anything, and I don't think it should be changed with a dance floor.
anything else? Discussion?
Somebody back there.
Q&A? Yes, sir. Tell us who you are and from whence ye came. Can't hear a thing.
Wait,
And I live in Dover, Dover Beach. My problem is I've gone to the shows many times, and the shows have been good, excellent in fact. But the time that we're living in now, we'd rather have better security in this theater here. I would suggest that you get some detectives.
Some what?
Detectives, metal detectives.
Oh, my God.
You know, my God, you know what's going on in this world? And it doesn't have to be an 18-year-old or a 21-year-old. There are many people here that are angry, and I've also known that they have guns too. So before we have a disaster, I would suggest that we get 2 detectives and put them in the front. And there was too much money that we close up the side entrances, because the front entrances are conducive to going to all the areas here. So I would suggest that we get some detectives for the front.
All right, no one in here has to be lectured. I mean, I'm very familiar with terrorism and the threat. But the question is, do you really want to expend the funds to turn this place into an armed fortress?
It's not a matter of being an armed forces. You just need one person to have a disturbance, and
Yes.
you're finished.
That could happen.
I know, but do you want to take the risk? I don't.
Okay. This is certainly, look,
Huh?
this is certainly something you can bring forward. Don't think this hasn't been discussed before.
So what are you waiting for?
I'm based on the historical occurrence of terrorism here in the clubhouse. I can't remember a single case in the last 52 years. All right?
But this is
I don't think we are a likely target, but if you want to bring forth this sort of security measure, please, bring it forth. Have your one of the people here on the committee make a motion.
Okay, does anyone want to make a motion?
No?
Delegate, get your delegate at the delegate assembly.
I'm not.
I prefer to do dance floor, not security.
All right, hold on. No motions at delegate assembly have any impact on this group. This group is managed through the operations committee, people sitting right here in this room. If somebody wants to make a motion to have metal detectors at doors, please make that motion.
I have a question.
Just remember who's going to pay for it.
Excuse me.
Well, I see there's quite a bit of reserves here.
Sir? Okay.
So don't tell me you have no money.
I got you.
No. I go to many shows. Abby has told me one of the best customers.
Because everybody with a cane and a walk.
Okay, come on. Folks, let Joyce be heard.
I think you heard me so far, right?
Speak into the mic.
I don't hear nothing.
Anyway, I have been here for 18 years. Abby told me I'm one of the best customers. I have never even seen an altercation. I'm sure there may have been, but unbelievable. No, I would never vote for anything like that.
I mean, for some of our theater goers, maybe someone knows the answer to this. Do they have such security measures, say, at Kravis?
Not that I'm aware of.
Or at the Moss? Or...
No.
No. Do they have metal detectors at the door to Kravis? That's very interesting. Okay.
Palm Beach Drama Works does not.
Fair
What
enough.
the Kravitz does.
They do. Bob?
David, what is the cost of having one officer here per hour?
That's not what he wants.
No.
He wants a metal detector.
He wants metal detectors.
He wants a metal detector.
He also asked for detectives to be in here.
No, detectors, not detectors.
Right.
All right. Now look, we used to have PBSO officers when we had a few people who would incite the delegate assembly to near riot conditions. We got some PBSO officers in attendance at delegate assembly, and we got nothing but extreme criticism, you know? So I don't know if you want to do that. I'm sure, listen, it was, what did it cost us? $200 for them to be here a couple of hours, and we can do that again. If you really think that the threat is such, yeah, I have no trouble if you want to expend those funds. It's not a decision to be, I mean, this is a management decision. We can make it over at UCO. But if there is an interest in PBSO attending whatever meetings, we could make that happen. Yes, Bob?
Okay, you're also gonna have to take into account that if you put a metal detector at whatever door, you're gonna have to have somebody there manning that door.
Of course.
Right, with a wand. And I don't know about you, but I got an artificial hip, so I go off every time I go through a metal detector.
Of course, mine do too.
And I'm sure there's a lot of people here that do, and I don't want to sit there doing this all day.
Right.
With a cane. Yes, ma'am.
I just want to make the operations.
Where are you from?
Wellington F, Lynn Schaefer.
Hi.
Hi. I just want to make the operations committee aware of the status of the fitness center right now. We have 2 machines with yellow tape around it for about 2 years. I've been told they're going to be replaced. I've been told they can't be replaced. All different stories. The TV sets, one is totally broken. I was told by Eva that they bought a new one about 3 weeks ago. It's still not here and still not working. The other 3 TVs, they're buffering not correctly, and they go in, they go out, they work, they don't work. According to what my conversations with Eva, is that it's UCO's expense, because we need cable TV, and the streaming isn't working, and UCO has to pay for it. And it would be $3,000. This is what I was told. I suggested, well, perhaps we should get BreezeLine in to fix the streaming. Fast forward, this has been going on for weeks, and the problems have not been resolved. And I think it has to be right now between UCO and WPRF, who is going to pay for what, because it seems to be, Eva has explained to me that the old millennial agreement is still in effect, and as far as that agreement goes, UCO is responsible to pay for cable, and that you won't. So if there's clarification on your part, I'd like to hear it. And as far as the machines that are taped up with yellow, they should either be thrown out or replaced, because I was told today that they can't be repaired.
The money for the
parts are
equipment.
too old.
Okay, you had 2 issues,
Many issues.
and I believe you actually hit it in the head. I'm chair of the cable committee, or co-chair of the cable committee. And if somebody will actually send me a piece of paper that explains what's wrong with the cable over there, I'll get it fixed. Equipment is another matter. Now, I understand from Eva that there are supply chain issues. She doesn't just snap her fingers and someone comes in and replaces equipment. And I'm sure that Dan or Monica can address that issue. That is a WPRF issue. All right?
This is before COVID. It started before COVID.
It had nothing to do with COVID.
Not the supply chain issues.
Oh, okay.
Years in
I got you. I'm with you. I'm just telling you what I was told.
Yeah, I can't address specific pieces of equipment, with Eva not here, that's more her wheelhouse, but I do know that there is a budget in this current year for replacing a lot of the equipment at Hastings, and that contract has been signed. Asia, isn't that correct? We're waiting for delivery?
It's actually being manufactured right now. The 2 pieces of equipment that you referred to are being replaced. The TV is here in this building. We're waiting for our staff to be here fully. Some had vacation, some were sick. We have our team who's going to be installing it hopefully later this week. As far as the cable, Breezeline has replaced the modem. We have fixed it as of today. Unfortunately, because it is a Wi-Fi system and not a cable system, it is based off of Wi-Fi and connections throughout the village. They have done what they can. Eva has actually gone to Breezeline for a cable. She, I guess, will bring it to her whenever the time comes. So we are working on it. We have not neglected it.
Thank you, Asia.
Barbara,
Question, who brings the Wi-Fi to the health center?
That would be Breezeline.
Breezeline.
Yes, ma'am.
So they should be taking care of that.
And we have contacted Melissa Pumpin and an Irvin or Ira Levy.
All right, but what I'm saying is she's 100% right. They've had nothing but trouble with them. But it's all pertains, so we know where we're going to talk, is Breezeline, not DSL or anybody else, Breezeline.
Correct.
So that's who you have to contact.
They
Okay.
have been contacted.
I know.
all right, yes, dear.
I want to know, why does it say Roku on the TV? If it's Breezeline.
That's a special box, the Roku box. What about it?
They have it on all the time, and you could be working out, right, and you only got that to look at, and it'll just stop mid-sentence, and then, then it goes, it all just stops, And then
Well,
it might
Roku's
come back
something
to
that's
my
built
God.
into the system. It's built into the TV. So if the TV's a Roku TV, that's all it is.
On the matter of TV over in the facility, I've recommended many times that a number of antennas could be put in the roof and pointed at the 500,000 watt broadcast television tower in West Palm Beach, and you get fine television. I don't see the great need for 500 channels while running on a jogger. All right? And I put that suggestion on the table years ago, but nobody has picked it up. All right? Anything else?
I have just one thing.
All right, we can't really hear you, so maybe if you come to the mic.
Very wait.
Who wants to get
It seems really minor compared to what you're all talking about, but because my knees and lack thereof, well, anyway, go ahead. There's a door on the Camden Pool,
A door?
a bathroom door on the
okay.
Camden Pool that's got a big cross across it, and you can't use it because the door fell off. Okay, and supply chain's not getting there, but you should be able to use the toilet. The toilet works, right?
Yeah.
So because the way the door is, it's the first one in line when you open the door, but, it's a ladies' room and whatever. So you should be able to put even a curtain there, a shower curtain, something to just,
This sounds like a WPRF issue.
and there's a lot of things. The doors are disintegrating on the bottom where the hinge goes. And I don't know, it's just little things like that. You use the facilities and you want to be nice.
I just found out because that's the maintenance item. So basically, they've been having the vendors out there, 2 of them. Okay, we're just waiting. It's particle board. That's why it's falling apart. We got them giving us prices to replace those doors. Okay, so at this point right now we closed it. But is there another one being able to be used? Okay, so if anything, we'll try to get that expedited as soon as possible. But we are aware of it, and it's been just to let you know, it's been 2 weeks. Okay, but we had vendors in between there getting this done.
Very good. All right.
Thank you for bringing it to attention.
This is a perennial Florida problem. There's no air conditioning in there. It's metallic systems, doors, partitions, and guess what? It's consistently hot and humid, and rust down here is your worst enemy. No magic.
Just to let you know, we have a few still left with particle boards, we still have also with metal, and of course, those two things do not work with the humidity levels. We are changing over to a plastic type system, okay? So that's what we're moving forward with all the doors, so that's why, again, the plastic today is also very expensive and very hard to get, you know, so bear with us, that's all.
Is it PVC? PVC? All right, is there anything else under discussion and Q&A? Yes, Ed?
Microphone.
Mike, Ed?
I just want to announce that most of the meetings in the newspaper say it's on Zoom, and they're not. And people are expecting, I've called, oh, I'm going to watch your meeting on Zoom. I said, surprise, there is no Zoom. So David, I think you should send out your email list advising people that there is no Zoom.
At the moment, you are correct. What we're trying to do is to get each committee to educate at least one person who can operate Zoom. We have no squadron of Zoom-ready technicians to develop these credentials and announce them. Why that meeting schedule has Zoom, Zoom, Zoom on half those meetings, I don't know. But until we get someone who is trained virtually on every committee, we're not going to put those schedules out with Zoom, Zoom, Zoom on them anymore. Because you're quite correct, we're not capable at the moment on every committee of doing Zoom.
It's been taken off the July meeting schedule.
Okay, that's good.
Saturday, you won't see.
And individually, as committees develop the ability, we're totally outside the scope of this meeting, of course, as the committees develop the ability, and they develop at least one person who will get the credentials and publish them, this isn't going to happen. All right? Barbara?
Since you're talking about that, I know there's a problem with the amount of people allowed in the UCO office to attend a meeting. I had to leave a meeting because of that, because there was too many people with the officers and the members on the committee. But I called Ken Graff, I'm sorry he left, and he told me he went up, he showed people, I presume somebody up there, I don't know who, maybe Donald or you or someone, how to do a Zoom meeting. On top of that, he made a draft of how to do it, and he left the papers with you, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, now, I don't know what the problem is with running a regular Zoom meeting. I'm on them every Monday and on the weekend, okay? But your problem is evidently getting it onto your site, the blog, am I correct?
No.
So then what is the problem if you have all the information to run a Zoom meeting?
We don't have anyone who is willing to come in and get the credentials. All I have to do is give me the credentials. No, I cannot operate a computer and run a meeting at the same time. You know, maybe it's that walk and chew gum at the same time. Someone has to become proficient and will come in and do it. You know, Ken has a lot to say, but when he's invited in to do it, no.
I wish he was here because I called him and said, why don't you help? And he said he had told Donald he'd come anytime you need him.
Yeah, well, he's invited regularly and he
I'm
doesn't
just saying
come.
what I heard, David.
David,
I gotcha. Yes.
I can vouch that I asked him personally to come and run a Zoom meeting for the Finance Committee, and no was relayed to me in more than one way. I will also say that I've been training to run a Zoom meeting, and I'm almost prepared, except my Zoom, which I don't pay for, I can only get 4 people on. So the instructor instructed me how we could use the Zoom that UCO pays for, but I wasn't able to get in because it required a password, and David said he's gonna try to get it. There is no password that's been made available to me.
All right, Joanne is working on this as we speak. I gave her an email today with the password in it. All right? Now, we are so totally off topic in here. We've descended into total Tupperware, random garbage.
It might be garbage to you, David, but when the residents can't go to a meeting, that's wrong. And you're holding it where we can't all attend.
And
that's not
you
right.
are most welcome to come in and host Zoom for us.
Well, fine, I have no problem. I'll come in when I come to a meeting.
You're welcome.
Just give me that password, that's all, Joanne.
All right? Yes, Doc.
I move we adjourn.
I second it.
And we have a second, and we are herewith adjourned. Thank you all.
computer. That's the problem. No, you don't understand.
I do, I on it twice a week.
Listen to me. What they tried to do, the system that we had in there, the little box, can't handle what he wants. No, it works, but they screwed it up. Because we used to record the meetings and then we would be able to download it onto his blog. That's whatever they did.